Hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining today. And this is I'm Mohammed Asif Wakar. I'm uh, I'm working in as a cloud solution architect in ABN AMRO Bank, and I am a Microsoft MVP on Azure platform. So we are in today's session. I'm going to talk about blockchain app development, and this is going to be a three-part series. In first part, we are going to cover basics of blockchain and app development, like how you can do if you want to start the blockchain development. So from where exactly you have to start and what is a blockchain if you are new to this. So this session is going to be very basic for understanding of about the blockchain, in which project we can use the blockchain, and what are the tools, how we'll set up the dev environment, and what are the frameworks available, what is the architecture, and some stuff related to that. And in part two, which is going to be means maybe this month or next month, on we'll talk about the smart contracts, because all the blockchain logics are written in smart contracts. So we'll talk about what type of smart contracts are there, and how we write the logic, and we'll discuss about the security concepts of blockchain for writing the smart contract. And in part three, we will be discussing about the blockchain deployment on Azure, means like how we can deploy the blockchain on Azure platform. So yeah, so this is what the agenda for upcoming series. And thanks Asan Bhai and team for organizing such great event. It's I'm really happy to be part of it. And yeah. So this is today's agenda. We will, in first part, we will discuss the why blockchain we need, and what are the available frameworks, and some stated blockchain architecture, and then we'll discuss about the what are the tools available, and we'll set up a dev environment for doing the blockchain, reading the data from the blockchain. So that's what we are going to do today. So if you have, if I just want to know that this curiosity, if someone have worked on blockchain, if any one of you, or maybe you can raise your raise hand feature, or you can unmute and maybe you can share something related to blockchain if you have done previously in your organization. If not, I think there's no need to worry. It's completely going to be from basics to the advanced level. Okay, thanks. Yeah. So why blockchain? When blockchain nowadays is a very buzzword, most of the companies are either they are planning or they are talking about doing some application in blockchain. But the question comes, why we need a blockchain? You have heard a lot of people are saying nearby that we want to do this project in blockchain, but if we have already so many apps available, so why we need what blockchain provides an add-on feature, and what type of application is suitable for blockchain. So let's say example means like if you want to buy a property in Dhaka, and so what information you will need. So suppose you are the buyer, and you want to buy a property, so what information you will need. So what you need, actually a seller, because someone is going to sell the property, so you need a seller. And you need, suppose you want to take a loan for that, so you need to contact with the bank. And you want to verify the property, suppose you like some property and you want to verify that property is a good property or not. So you want to verify the property from land authority or maybe some property inspector. So you need to contact with them, and it may be that after finalizing your property you might need some insurance plan on that. So this might be multiple parties involved in such kind of transactions. So took a, when you look the whole big picture, it's a multi-party transaction. So you need to talk a lot of people, because no single parties provides all type of solution. So this type of transaction comes with few issues, like trust gap, because you don't know the seller, you don't know, means like so you don't trust them. So you have to go with different parties to verify with them, means like separately, and you are not the only one who is doing the same thing. Means like this might be, there might be many buyers along the way, and they are doing the same repetitive process multiple times. And so this is kind of the inefficiency of, so there might be some properties which is not good properties, and they might forge the document, so there might be some inefficiency of the data, so the data might not be available, so they can do some kind of fraud with you. And so suppose you have 10 properties, so this process might be very expensive because you need to go visit the same places multiple times. So to avoid this kind of issue, blockchain can be a good solution. So blockchain basically fits in that type of scenario where multiple parties are involved. In current scenario, what happens is all the organization or banks or any financial organization or any uh, supply chain, so they are maintaining their own standalone system. They are not interacting with any other. So interaction is only either by email or maybe some other means. But still everyone is maintaining their own system. So this kind of issues are very common. So to avoid that, what can be, blockchain can be a problem solving in terms of, suppose if all the parties comes on a same network, or they perform the transaction with each other, so you don't need to do the same repeat. Suppose you want to buy a property, so this seller information is already available on the blockchain network. So even though you don't need to, because that property information is verified by already the land authority, property inspector, and appraiser, a lending bank or insurer, so all have already verified them. So you just need to go and explore. You don't need to, suppose if you're watching 10 properties, so you don't need, you are trusting with the blockchain network, they have already verified that. So this helps to improve the process in terms of real-time review. You know that proof of ownership, you know that from where the property was started, and how many buyers came along the way, and you know that means like what are the risks with involved in the properties. So this blockchain helps you to solve that kind of problem. It helps you to provide multi-party auditing, means that workflow will have multiple level of approver, so you, all the parties can simultaneously do the approve transaction. Suppose you are the seller and you want to post a property, so there might be that multiple level of approval and verification needed. So in that kind of scenario, multi-party auditing will be helpful. And because there are no intermediary involved in that, there are no agents are involved in that, so you are directly dealing with the banks, land authority, appraiser, or insurer. And this whole process is digitalized, so automated settlement are taking place, and this helps to reduce the fee, because in current scenario the major problem is the mediators who are taking a huge amount of fees in terms of doing the same repetitive process. And this is a kind of a decentralized contract execution, which is because when you are buying or selling or making any type of contract, so uh, that contract is registered as a smart contract. So there might be a different type of smart contracts in blockchain, like escrow contracts or some other contracts. So yeah, those contracts execution is done only when you are means when certain conditions are met. So maybe you have heard about the crowdfunding. So crowdfunding is nothing but when there are, suppose if you have taken the projects and the project stages are completed, so based on the stages they will release you the money. The same as this, that is a very good use case for the blockchain, because in smart contracts you will have similar stages. So once you follow or pass the criteria, then only the contract execution will take place. So let's take other example, like how exactly the blockchain works. Suppose you want to send a money from Dhaka to US. So A want to send a money. So what happens is A want to send a money to B. The transaction will take place, and this transaction will be notified to all the parties. So means whoever is involved in the transaction. Suppose you are sending $10 from Dhaka or US to Dhaka. Okay, so what happens is the bank will notify to all the people who are involved, like maybe because whenever any such transactions happen, so there might be multiple parties involved, like multiple banks are involved for transacting those money. So they will be informed to other banks and they will verify if the transaction is correct or not. They will verify that you have that amount in your account or not. Once everyone will verify that, so the transaction will be approved, and those approved transaction is once it is valid, it will be added to the block, and that block will be added to the blockchain network. So and then money will be moving from one place to another place. So that's how it takes place, means like it's a multiple party approval, or you can say auditing. So once they verify, if they find out something is fishy or something is not correct, so they may reject that. So this helps to reduce the time. This helps to reduce a lot of mediator in the blockchain network, in the whole process actually. So in current scenario, how exactly means like when we talk about the blockchain, so people say it is secure. Why it is secure? So if you see here, there are in blockchain network, what happens is all the blocks are linked with the previous block. So once the when one transaction happened, okay, so the transaction will be added into the block, and once the block limit is completed, so this block will be added to the new block. So once the another transaction will happen, so the transaction will happen to the another block. So you can see here there are multiple transactions in one block 15, and there are separate transactions, and all the blocks are linked with the hash address. In blockchain, we need to understand the two things. One is all the entities in the blockchain network have address, and that address is a block hash. So that address is the identifying key for each person. So even though means you are external parties, or you are it's like even the smart contracts also have address. So when we deploy the blockchain smart contracts on the blockchain network, so that is identified with the hash address. So blockchain concept is completely based on hashing of identity. So all the blocks are linked with the previous block with the hash address. So what happens is a blockchain is made up of blocks added to the end, and each block contains either one or more transactions. This blockchain is achieve immutability by including the hash function of the previous block. So how it is immutable? Because once you are trying to tamper the, suppose it's a chain, it's a chain. In chain, if you are trying to tamper in the middle chain or maybe middle of the block, so what will happen is that hash will change, and it will not match with the previous, because there will be one copy which will be available in the server. So if something is changed in the middle, so it will not map with the previous submitted copy. So in that kind of scenario, you can identify that this block is tampered. So that's why it is immutable to modify any kind of transaction. And I will give you another example. And the first block is called the Genesis block. So it might have a zero transaction in that. So why it is immutable? Actually, blockchain concept is not new. It was introduced with the digital signature in 1993. That's concept of Merkle tree, and that was used for the digital signature. So in that, what happens is all the document will have a hash, and these hash, like there are multiple documents. So these hash will have their root node. So left hand hash and right hash will combine, and then it will form the root, means like the top root node, sorry. And similar, there will be like kind of again the left and right hash will be there, and there'll be another node on top of it. So then root node, and it will all link to the root node. So if you're trying to tamper any one of the hash or any one of the document in the middle, so what will be there, whatever the submitted copy on this part, it will not match with the previous one. So whole chain will be means, you will know that there is something change in that. So that's why this kind of transactions are more secure compared to another applications. If anyone have any questions until here, you can ask, unmute and can ask, or maybe you can put in the chat box. I'm not actually working with it. Okay, please bear me because this is an introductory session, so might have some slides, but from next to part 2 and part 3, obviously it's completely hands-on. In current network, we have 3 types of blockchain network available. So which is known as public blockchain, private blockchain, and consortium. So public blockchain is nothing but, you have heard about the Bitcoin. I think everyone have heard about the Bitcoin. So Bitcoin and Ethereum was a completely public blockchain, because in that anyone can take a part. Means like you can transact the money if you know the other person wallet address, which is your hash address. So you can transact the money from one place to another place. One block means like one person to another person. So that's what is happening in the public blockchain. So anyone can participate, and mostly the example of cryptocurrency, maybe your some of organizations have developed for the health organizations, royalty points. And what private blockchain network is, private blockchain network is like some group of people, and they don't want to share their information with others. So like might be a kind of banks or financial organizations, or maybe some other some company, or maybe some health company who don't want to share the data between any other network. So what they do is they develop a private blockchain network. So they maintain their own for blockchain for their own offices, or maybe their own network or vendors with the vendors. So that can be like ownership and responsibility lies with a single company, and that can be like asset management, governance, subsidiary, or maybe company-wide compliance or any other thing. Consortium, what happens is it's kind of multi-party. So the first example, use case example which I have gave for buying the property, or maybe for sending the money from one place to another place. So that will help basically in the consortium. So in the consortium, there will be multiple parties. So in multiple party scenario, or maybe it's a supply chain or logistic, so you will need there will be multiple parties involved in that, and you will form the consortium, or you will authorize some people to join the consortium, whoever you want it to be in that. So we have actually it's like done on some projects on trade and finance for like for the, because in supply chain what happens is in trade and finance industry, when one ship goes from one place to another place, so they need a letter called bill of landing, and same as letter of uh, bill of landing. So what exactly happens is that paper is very important, and it takes multiple parties to involved in that, bank, insurers, or importer, exporter. So few companies are making product for that to issue a digital bank of landing. Even though recently Singapore government and I think Rotterdam, they have done production live end-to-end transaction for a bill of landing. Some company have done that. So that is a kind of consortium, because in that there are different parties which is external parties, and they are trusting each other and involving end-to-end transaction. In current scenario, we have few blockchain frameworks available, which are the major one. Actually, there are a couple of them more, but these are the major one, like Ethereum, Hyperledger, and Corda. Corda is from the R3 organization, and Quorum, which is recently taken over by Consensus. Consensus is also managing means enterprise version of Ethereum. Okay. So Hyperledger is from IBM. So and then they have many projects: Hyperledger Fabric, Hyperledger Vesu. Yeah. So in today's, I am going to explain about more on Ethereum, but in going forward, I will give also in the next session, which is on part 2, I will give also the idea of how we can set up with the Quorum and Hyperledger Fabric. Because Quorum is an enterprise version of Ethereum. In 2015, some organization, including JP Morgan, and they came and they formed means permission blockchain network, which is called Quorum. And recently, Quorum is acquired by ConsenSys. And Hyperledger Fabric, previously they were only they have Hyperledger Fabric, Hyperledger Indy. There were so many projects, but they realized that Ethereum is an open source network and a lot of companies are adopting. So they have released one project called Hyperledger Besu, which is also based on Ethereum. And Quorum is also based on Ethereum because it's enterprise version of Ethereum. So three are almost common projects they have. So I will be talking about Ethereum today, and I will give the idea how exactly we can do with the Quorum and Hyperledger Besu. Previously, Microsoft Azure was providing a blockchain as a service with the Quorum, but unfortunately, they have deprecated the Azure blockchain as a service recently, and I'm not sure if there's something is going to come on in to replace that. But we can set up a whole complete Ethereum network on VM as well. And in my part 3, obviously, I'm going to showcase that. So if you are talking about the Ethereum blockchain network, so architecture, so what happens is all the transactions are maintained from the EVM Ethereum virtual machine, and the client application, which is either you are going to develop in React.js or maybe in any other programming languages, Python or Go or Rust or whatever. So that communicates with Ethereum virtual machine with the library, SDK library called Web3.js. So that is a client library which helps to interact with the Ethereum virtual machine. And the communication takes place, you should know that to address, okay, the value, and the nonce is nothing but when the transaction takes place between means two different parties, so how much it is secure, so that's value is set by nonce, and I will explain more in depth going forward. And the gas price, so because when we talk about the open blockchain network or public blockchain network, because Ethereum is a public blockchain network, so it is not maintained by anyone, it is completely open source. So what happens is when you are doing the transaction, so someone should maintain the network, right? So to maintain the network, what we need to do, we need to pay a fee in terms of gas price. So it is similar, actually, same with the Bitcoin also you need to pay a fee, network fee. Okay, so gas price is nothing but your network fees which you are paying in terms of gas price. Okay, and it's limited based on the transaction as per your transactions. And whenever you are performing a transaction from one place to another place, so obviously you need to do a signature. You should have some keys to sign the transaction. Okay, and this store means like whatever the transaction we are performing on the blockchain network or Ethereum virtual machine, those states are stored in level DB, which is stores the data of the blockchain, list of the blocks, and states of the block. It do not exactly store all the data because there are when we were doing with the Azure blockchain. So Azure blockchain used to have even though for the SQL database for storing your transaction, but only the states are stored on the level DB. And all the nodes are maintained by a Ethereum network. So by using Gossip protocol, so every nodes run Ethereum execution. Every on the each node we will have EVM. So suppose your company is having one node. Okay, so it might be that node is shared or not. It might be like you are only just a user. Okay, so you will not have to maintain your own node. But suppose you are going to host the application, you want to maintain the data privacy or security. So in that case, what will happen is you will host your own node, and that node will have EVM, or your complete client application will be hosted in your network. So, and you can even join to any other consortium, because whenever there is a consortium form, means consortium is nothing but a group of companies when they will form the consortium to a blockchain network. So you can join the consortium by they will have address, and you can join the network. I will show how exactly happens. And all the transaction actually takes place. There are two consensus mechanism. Consensus mechanism is nothing but when you are doing the transaction on the blockchain network, so all the parties agree this data is correct or not. So that is done by a proof of work or proof of authority. Okay, so consensus mechanism. So proof of work is nothing but and who will so because there might be multiple transactions happening at the same time. So how they will order the transaction, or maybe sequence the transaction, so that will based on the proof of work. So what exactly they do based on the gas price, or based on the timings and preferences of the transaction. So this mechanism helps to organize the transaction and propagate to the network, so everyone agree on that or maybe reject on that. So when a node receives a block, so EVM runs all the transaction on a specified block. Okay, so this is overall means like how exactly the Ethereum network interacts with the client application and Ethereum client, so basically which runs all the transaction and it maintains the states of the transaction. So this is how the Ethereum architecture work. For development of means suppose if you want to start blockchain development, so how you will start? Okay, so there are a couple of ways for that. Means like based on your preference and your objective, you can define. If you want to start with your local host development, so you need a tool called Ganache and Truffle Sweetbox. So that is helpful for your setting up the local network. But if you want to deploy the blockchain on the blockchain network, so there used to be a Azure blockchain service, but in place of that, now we will, because it's going to be deprecated soon. So what we'll do is we will create our own blockchain network VM and deploy on the Azure. And there are few already pre-built means like a SaaS service available, and Ethereum connectors are there. So with the help of like Infura, and so we can connect with them, and we can also perform the transaction directly with them. That we'll see in a few minutes. Okay, so I'm going to start my demo. So for setting up the development, what we need is we need to install the Ganache, and you should have a Node.js installed in your network. And then we will need a Truffle. Truffle is basically for management of your project. So it's for creating the blockchain project, you need Truffle. And then you need to install the MetaMask plugin. So MetaMask plugin, what it do is it helps you to connect from your local development blockchain network to whatever you are doing development. If you are doing the development in Ethereum, so it will help you to connect to the blockchain network, either local or maybe the production network. So anyone have any questions or doubt until here? Because then we'll. Has somebody any questions or no?
Actually, I don't found any question.
Okay, sure.
In the chat box. Someone asked me
Sure.
about this, about do you mean by the same network? One question I have received in chat box.
Okay. What does the same network mean? Same network. Actually, I didn't.
Actually, Asit bhai, when you are in the first or second slide, then
Yeah.
he asked this question.
Okay. This is it. This slide? Okay.
Sixth slide. When you were in sixth slide, then he asked this question.
Okay. Same network, as I understand, means like, please correct me. I think whom are you, right? Yeah. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, same network and different network meaning is in blockchain network. When we there are, as I told, there are three types of blockchain networks available. One is a public blockchain network, and second is a private blockchain network, and third is a consortium. So public blockchain network basically is for anyone can join, like Ethereum and Bitcoin. Even though you can open an account and you can transact the money from one place to another place. Okay. When we are so this is one network which is maybe open anyone can join. But when we are talking about the private blockchain network, so private blockchain network is only a close specified, people are able to only join. Like suppose if you want to develop some blockchain network for your own company, okay, for managing your document verification process in the same network. So what will happen is only that network people can access the transaction. So it's something like you're giving access to some people to join, specified people to join. And consortium is you are giving access to another party, external parties, or another network people also to join. So it might be that because in current scenario there are multiple yes, it's okay. I'll come to next question. First is in current scenario, because it might be that there are multiple Ethereum consortium available or blockchain networks available. So what will happen is you will be able to join one to another Ethereum network for performing some kind of transaction uh, by joining the network. Okay, that's also possible. So in that kind of scenario, it's a different network. So please tell me if I have given your answer, or maybe if you're expecting something different. Yeah, it's Level DB is a native DB of Ethereum. Yes, as of now, it's a native DB of Ethereum. It only stores the states of the transaction, or maybe whatever the transaction you are performing on the blockchain network. So it's states. But you can store and suppose the transactions are growing more. So if even you have maybe you want to store some external, so they are called IPFS. Maybe let me show you. So IPFS is basically a cloud-based service for storing, not this. I think their site is not available now, but this is some kind of SaaS service for storing all your files and transaction means like only the storing the files. And but if you want to store your transaction data also, you can store in your local DB like SQL database or Oracle or maybe any other NoSQL database. That's possible. Okay, so now let me show you how exactly we will set up the blockchain network in local first. We need to install this tool that's called Ganache. So Ganache is basically you can download from Ganache blockchain. So you can download Ganache from here, and you also need to download the Truffle suite. So Truffle will be basically helpful for your setting up the project. Okay, so the two tools which you need to download for developing your blockchain network. So Ganache will help to set up your local Ethereum network, and these are the addresses. So what it do is it helps you to provide some private means like some test balance. So these are the like keys you can just use. I will show you how exactly we'll use this address. Okay, and there is a third thing. What we need is we need a MetaMask plugin. So MetaMask plugin, what exactly it do? Whenever we will compile or maybe migrate the uh, smart contracts, so this MetaMask will run the transaction. Okay, and it will helps you to connect with the local blockchain network. I have already installed the Ganache and Truffle suite. Okay, And what you need to do is you need to type on the command prompt to activate the Ganache CLI. I think I have already done that. Yeah. Okay, let me show you. Okay, that's CLI. So basically, this will is like activate your. I think already is listing. My port is already listing, so you can say this. This environment, once after installing the Ganache plugin, this environment will be set up. Okay, and after that you need to create your MetaMask plugin. So in that, what we need to do, we need to add this some balance here. So how we can do is we need to import account. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take some balance from here and we'll copy this private key. Because why we need this balance is whenever we are performing some kind of transaction. So you can see here I got 100 Ethereum dollar. Okay, now I need to connect this to the blockchain network. It is connected. So why I need is whenever I am going to perform any kind of transaction. So this network is not maintained by anyone. So what will happen is we need to pay a fee to the network in terms of Ethereum. So that's why we need to load the balance in terms of Ethereum. But whenever like any SaaS service are available, like provided by Microsoft Azure or AWS, so what exactly they do is they manage the gas fees from their side, and for us they will just provide a SaaS solution. Like we can just take $100 or $200 SaaS solution for using their fee. Okay, but recently what happens is in Ethereum, it's like which is currently going on, the fee is increasing a lot. So that's why in Ethereum 2.0 release, which is going to come in July, they are going to fix that issue for high fee, and that's the biggest problem as of now for Ethereum. But still, most of the projects are on Ethereum. So let's go and create one simple project now. There are two ways I'm going to show. One is we'll go and create the blockchain project from directly from here. Let's go and sessions. What is happening? I'm sorry. Okay, means like for starting the project, what we need to do is we need to first initiate the truffle box. So truffle box is basically let's create one folder here, and that's called project demo. So basically what it's going to do is going to create one simple project using truffle box. That's basically truffle box is nothing but, as I earlier mentioned, it's for maintaining your projects and creating your project. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to create a smart contracts, and this is migration.sol. Means like whenever you will develop any kind of smart contracts, so you need to deploy that smart contracts on the blockchain network. So this migration solution will help you to deploy the smart contracts on the blockchain network. Okay, and this is the initial file. So which file you are going to deploy on the blockchain network, this will help you to deploy. So let me, I have one cheat sheet also. Let me open this. now what I'm going to do is I'm going to install all the binaries using truffle package.json. Okay. So in package.json, what exactly we'll do is I'll install all the binaries which is required for blockchain development. Actually, my project binaries I have taken a bit old because in this VS Code, I'm doing the development for the Hyperledger and Ethereum both. And the problem I faced with the Hyperledger was it was only supporting GYP. Some issue was there, and they were only supporting V1 point something, 1.10.1, and that's why I cannot upgrade my Node.js version. So yeah, that's problem. So you will face if you're doing the same, means like two different blockchain development in the same. So it might be what I'm going to do is now what I need to do is I will create one smart contract. In smart contract, once I have created a smart contract, I will deploy that smart contract onto the blockchain network. Okay, so let's just a few minutes. And this is the only one, means like we have way for creating the smart contracts or blockchain projects from the Truffle box. But there is another way which VS Code Studio extension also provides. Means you can create a new Solidity project from directly from here. That's another way, but it's good to you should know that how we'll create the project from scratch and how we'll read the data from the blockchain network locally. Then it will be easy for you to understand by using the editor how we can do that. It's almost finished. Yeah. So now let's create. Now I'm going to compile using. So if you can see here, all it is done by the Truffle suite. So by default, when we are going to do from the VS Code extension, so in behind it is all managed by the Truffle. Now what I will do is I will deploy these smart contracts. So this is the smart contracts I have created, like to-do list. Okay. I will deploy this smart contract on the blockchain network. And before that, I will update the Truffle config. So currently I am going to do this is in localhost. Okay. So this is my Truffle config. And if you can see here, you can provide the, sorry, let me make it bigger. You can provide the networks here. So you can provide for your development or maybe for your either Ropsten. Ropsten basically is used for testing purpose. Ropsten network is also available. So let me show you in the MetaMask what are the networks available. So in current scenario, currently you can see there is a Ethereum mainnet. So basically, which is a production version of Ethereum, and there is a Ropsten test network. So suppose if you want to do means testing with the network, so you can help to test with the Ropsten test network. If you don't want to set up your local network, so you can use this Ropsten. So how you will load the money in the Ropsten network? What you need to do is there is a Ropsten Ethereum faucet. So what you need to do is you need to provide your account address because everything is identified with the account address. So how will identify the account address? So this is my account address. I just need to copy this address. Actually, I have already taken one Ethereum Ether from here. So this will check and they will send me because I'm already have taken. So they will check and send me in my wallet. It takes almost 2 to 3 minutes to load the ether into the account address which you have given. And then you can also, there are some other test networks available like Kovan test network, Rinky test networks, and there's a local host. So local host I have created. So how exactly I have created? Let me show you the configuration. You need to configure the local host, and let me show you. So these are the networks. So you can see here in my local host, and this is my local host address 127 point something 7545. And recently, previously there was a node chain ID, but they have released the chain ID. So chain ID is used for signing the transaction. Okay, previously it was not mandatory, but now they have made it mandatory. And for local network, it's a 1337. But for others, you can find out on the Ethereum documents. They are available, all the other network ID. Or same, suppose if you are setting up a cloud network like on Azure or AWS or any other network, so what you need to do, you need to provide the network name, and there will be Ethereum endpoint address. So it's like same as it is, we have a local 127 point something, they will have Ethereum endpoint address, and you have to provide that address here. And you can give, even though because you are doing the local host development, so you can give 1337 as a chain ID. That's not important. Okay, so that's how let me think it's couldn't find. Oh, okay, so if you can see here, I got the address. This is, I could not identify because this needs to be updated into in migration 2 dot I need, because this is only for the migration, but to identify this, my for I have created a new solution contract, so I need to create one new migration file. So let me just go and add. Okay, then I will add this to identify this smart contracts for deploying. So what I need to do is I need to add here. So what it will do is it will check the smart contracts which I have created. So whenever you are going to create any new smart contracts, so you can include in that, in this same file, or maybe you can create a new migration contracts file, deploying contracts file, and declare the variables for deployment purpose. So now let's go and so now you can see that my contract is compiled. So when the contract will be compiled, there will be one build file will be generated, which will be your JSON file. That's called bytecode. So whenever you are going to, because in current scenario, what we are doing is we are just then developing the smart contracts like to-do list, and I will create the means like some HTML file or JS file, and we'll use this smart contract. But in normal scenario, when you are going for doing the app development for a bigger scale, so you might have a front end available in React JS, and backend you don't know. So backend, what we'll do is we'll take this bytecode. What we'll do is we'll copy the bytecode, means like ABI file, contract ABI, and we will create abi.json. Okay, and we paste the code here. Okay, and this abi.json, basically it's a deployment of your smart contracts on the blockchain network. Same ABI will be used for wherever you are going to use. It's kind of API, you can say, for this project, for this smart contracts, and this can be consumed from any other React JS or application or any other application. Okay, so now let's go and migrate. So now I'm going to migrate the smart contracts on the blockchain network. So if you can see here, they have deployed the blockchain on the blockchain network. So after deploying, this is a contract address. So it will be, as I earlier mentioned, whenever we are going to perform any kind of transaction on the blockchain network, so there will be a unique address. So all the external parties, means like who are taking a part in the network, means like company A, company B, they will also have their own smart contract. They will also have their own entity address, and whatever the application or smart contracts we are going to deploy onto the network, those will also have their smart contract address. And same as this, whatever the transaction you are performing, that will also have their contract address. So based on that unique address only, you will identify this transaction is and this is not going to be duplicate anyhow, so it's always unique. And you can see whenever I perform the transaction, so there is a gas fees used, and now the balance is this. Okay, so let's go and check if my balance is reduced or it's the same. I think I'm using some different account address. Okay, you can see all those transactions, whatever is happened on your blockchain network recently here. So this is the block which is recently created. Okay. And this address is sender address to contract address. This is, let's go and touch. So you can see here, this is 325 and this is 325. So this is the transaction which is recently happened, and you can see this transaction. Okay, and what is the gas price fees, and in terms of Ethereum, it will be showing here. Okay, now the next thing comes is I want to read my contract address, or I want to read the information whatever I have deployed on the blockchain network. So how I will do that? So to read, there are many ways actually to do that, but let's do with the Truffle console. So what I can do, it's same like a command prompt. We can read whatever we have deployed. Okay, so I have deployed the smart context to-do list. So I'm going to deploy this. Okay, and now I'm going to read the address of the smart contracts which I have deployed. So this is going to show my smart contract address, and this same I am going to do with the means like what is my task count. So currently I have only done one transaction, so task count is 1. So that's the one way of doing that. Another way is, what we can do is let's create another project. Okay, sorry. So there are ways for creating the blockchain project, new Solidity project, and there are two ways. One is creating the basic blockchain project, and there is a Trufflebox. So Trufflebox already have, suppose if you want to try some blockchain projects from your just for your development purpose or to know more about the blockchain, so this might be a good solution by using the Trufflebox. So what happens is, in so you can see here the boxes, there are multiple projects available on the Trufflebox. So what you need to do is, suppose I want to create one drizzle projects or anything. Okay, so what I will do, I will use this Truffle unbox drizzle. So let me show you. So you need to choose the demo 2. Okay, and please enter the preview. And now the project is going to create a starting. So they have created all the smart contracts. So these are, which is already pre-built project. So you can build the project, deploy it, and on the blockchain network, and start testing using for your own like. So what I want to do is I can build and deploy the smart contracts directly from the UI itself. So we don't need to type that truffle migrate or truffle compile. But if you are command prompt, if you like the command prompt, I think then you will go with the truffle suite. Otherwise, if you like the UI one, so there is option in the Visual Studio Code. You can build and deploy your smart contracts. So I can just go and build my smart contracts. So the contract building started. And same as this, I can deploy the smart contracts. So my smart contract is built. Now it's deploy the smart contract. So you need to sign into, because it is, I think, deployed on Microsoft Azure. No, you need to sign in. No. So you can deploy the smart contracts on your local host, or if you want, if you have a Azure blockchain as service. Previously I used to have Azure blockchain as service, but currently I don't have, because now they are not allowing to create a new member. So I'm going to deploy on the local blockchain network. And this is that's for, but if you want to create only means like sample projects without anything, so then you need to go with the create a new project directly. Now let me explain about if anyone have any questions until here, means like so what exactly I have done is these are the tools which, these are the prerequisite which you need. Then I have created the project by using Truffle Suite. So Truffle Suite is for creating the project and managing the project. Okay. Then we have compiled the projects, build the projects, and deployed it. And these migration files, basically whenever you are creating a new smart contracts, so you need to have a migration files, because it will keep your record for it's like when you are going to deploy on the blockchain network. And it also helps you to identify that which blockchain smart contracts you are going to deploy on the network. And there is a build file will be generated, that's nothing but your it's build solution. So whenever you are going to deploy the blockchain smart contracts, so this build solution will be needed for suppose if you want to consume this smart contracts feature in some other application, like using React or maybe some other way, so you can do that. Okay, let me close this and then open the new one. What is happening with my window? Sorry, just a minute. Actually, my some problem is with my VS Code. It's like keep on. Yeah, so basically in part 1, part 2, what we are going to do, we are going to create a CRUD application, and to do that we have already created the project as I earlier mentioned. So this is we will create the to-do list smart contracts. So in that, it's a CRUD application is like how we are going to add the transaction, means delete the transaction or modify the transaction. So that's what the basic applications we are going to do. So for that, I have written one smart contract here. Basically, it's there are two functions like task created and task completed. So whenever this smart contract is written in language called Solidity. Solidity is a programming language for Ethereum development, smart contract development. And there are two events. One is task created and task completed. Okay, in task create, we are whenever we are adding any kind of task, so it will increase the count and it will show the display the task on there. And once task is completed, we can check the task and it will be complete. So it's a very basic function we have done that. Okay, and this is the app.js. In app.js, basically what we are doing is we are loading the smart contracts which is done by with the Web3. When I was explaining about the Ethereum architecture, then I explained about the Web3.js. Web3.js basically helps you to connect with the local Ethereum network. So it's kind of library, client library, which helps you to connect with the Ethereum network or Ethereum client. So we are going to load the Web3 library. Okay, and we are going to identify which is our current provider. So current provider, because this provider helps us to connect with the local network or maybe the network which is in production or QA. So like Rapstone or maybe the Ethereum mainnet. So current provider, because it's a development environment, but when we are going for the production environment, obviously this current provider will change to directly the endpoint address for the let me show you. So this is I will show exactly the Ropsten network address will be something like that. I will explain what is Infura. Infura is basically the SaaS service. Suppose if you don't want to create a local Ethereum network, so you can use this service. So what we'll do is we will provide the Ropsten endpoint address here directly. And whenever we are loading the performing the transaction, so it will load the Web3 client from the Ropsten network, and it will provide the account address or the main transaction we'll do from here. Okay. So there are three things we have given. One is for providing the current provider, which is your local network, or if you are performing the transaction on the Ethereum network directly, so it will check with the Ethereum and then it will load with the Ethereum wallet. Okay. And then we have this is the index HTML we have created for showing up that how exactly the application will look like. But in normal case, what will happen is we will have some other application like React or Angular, and we will consume the bytecode, which is this is to-do list.json. Okay, the ABI contract ABI code we will save, and we will refer like import the in index.html, the import the ABI file, and that will have the all logic of to-do list smart contracts. Okay, so what exactly we are doing here is we are let me show and run the application. So this is the application. Basically, I created very simple application like test1. Okay, and so this is my account address, and it is connected with my local network. So currently I have, suppose I have connected to local network. Okay, This is my local host address, and it's connected to my local. Suppose if you are connecting to the Ropsten network, so what you will do is you need to change to the Ropsten network here, and you need to provide the, while loading the wallet, you need to provide the Ropsten endpoint address here directly. So that's how it works. Okay, so whenever I'm going to perform the transaction, so it will check with the MetaMask, like I want to perform this transaction. Okay, so I will provide the gas amount of fee, and then we'll confirm the transaction or reject the transaction. And whatever the transaction we are performing, it will be captured on the Ganache. So you can see whatever the transactions we have performed here. Okay, so that's how it works. So this is the basic setup of your local environment. If anyone have any doubt until here, it's like any questions on this, you can ask. How we can create a account number? Which account number you are talking about? Which the difference between the smart contracts and account? So smart contracts basically is your logic file. Like suppose you're writing the code in Java or .NET. So where exactly you're writing the code is your it's like some particular business logic you are writing. So the smart contract is nothing but your business logic. Okay, and the account which I am referring for is your smart contract account address, because whenever you are deploying any kind of a smart contract, so that will have a particular address, because as I showed earlier also, so if you can see here, there is a sender address and two receiver address. So there will be two address. One is sender and who is to whom you are receiving. So suppose in case of you are deploying the smart contract, you are means like you are deploying, right? So you will, the smart contract will have address, but which network you are deploying, that also will have address. So that's a two account address. So yeah. Is it what you are referring to, Jahangir? And thanks. Okay. Yeah, and next demo we will show exactly this whole application we will do in the React.js, and how we'll import the file, how exactly we'll do end-to-end transactions, and that will cover in the next lecture. And we'll also see what type of smart contracts are there, types of the smart contracts, and how exactly we write the logic in Solidity, and what are the security concerns we need to take a place to understand the logic. If anyone have any question, Assam bhai?